This is Raging with Ron and Riccardo, part of the Spaulding Innovation Network. Sass Jordan is our guest today. Hello, Sass. How are you?
Hello, I'm raging.
You're raging. Hey, listen, I have to apologize up front because I know that we're running late, but Ron got stuck at the hairdressers, and that's why, he couldn't get here on time. So I apologize for that, but thank you for being patient with us.
I actually did get a haircut today. That is part of the.
Yeah, you know what your problem is, Ron? You got no pink in your hair. That's your problem.
Got a little white in there.
Those are platinum highlights, I like to call them, Ron.
Perfect.
Now, Sass, you are obviously a multi-million selling artist. You're an actress. You've done musical. You've done theater. You've done TV. You've done all kinds of things, and you just seem to be a person that is all about expressing themselves and having fun. 24/7, 100%. So it's great to have you on. Let's talk about that. I know you had a blues album last year. Where do you want to start? What should we talk about to start with?
Yeah. It's very difficult to narrow it down, Riccardo. I'm just saying. And the only reason you're talking about silver highlights is because you ain't got any yet.
Oh, I got plenty. I've just
Do you?
I've got good lighting.
Bring them out. Let's see them. Silverback. Riccardo is a silverback.
They're in there. They're in there somewhere.
After this podcast, you'll have more.
Yeah, probably.
Well, you
lean down, you can kind of see them shining a little bit. You can see that.
See, that's the beauty of silver highlights.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, that's the funniest thing happened to me. Do you remember those movies called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the? I don't know if you guys remember that because you might be a little too young.
Yeah, that was way before my time.
Yeah, it was for sure. But a funny thing happened to me while I was on tour last year with a Bowie celebration. We had just started the US leg of the tour. We did Europe and Israel in January and the beginning of February. And we just started what was supposed to be a 5-week tour of the US. And we were about a week and 3/4 into it when That Which Shall Remain Nameless hit. And we had to fly home immediately. Everybody, it was over. Goodbye. See you later. And we had to fly home on March the 13th, which was the actual day that my most recent album, Rebel Moon Blues, came out. It came out on that exact day. And I flew home from Ground Zero, Seattle, Washington.
Wow.
That exact day. And it was the weirdest experience of all time because there we are, SeaTac. I'm alone. And when I say alone, I was alone. There was like nobody there. It was like stepping into a sci-fi movie. So basically, I would say that as of pretty much a year ago, all of us collectively stepped into a sci-fi movie. We are now in the Matrix. The question is, how do we navigate the Matrix knowing that we're in the Matrix? Let's talk to Neo. Oh, wait, he's not here. We're going to have to come up with it ourselves. So basically, since then, that's really what I have been focused on. I'm absolutely fascinated with the way this whole Matrix appears to be working. And Ron was saying a little bit earlier before we were on, you were saying, how people are so divided. Like it's like Camp A and Camp B, and never the twain shall meet. And obviously, if we look at our history in any way, shape, or form, that's never going to work, is it? How can that work? How can it work when we're completely segregated and nothing I say will you listen to because you're so convinced that you're right, and nothing you say will I listen to because I'm so convinced I'm right. This is the question, and this is the paradox that's like been consuming me for the past year. You know what I mean? And this is where my focus is. I'm fascinated by this, and there's got to be a way through it. because in the end, as I always say, God wins. Because what is God? What is God? I don't really know, but I know that it's the source of everything, right? So all of these contentious camps exist within that one source. There must be a reason this is happening. What is it? Now, I'll ask you, what do you think it is?
Well, I don't have an answer to what I think it is. What I think is most interesting and what I am very curious about in the journey of it, Sass, is when do we start getting to a place where we break through and we become more wise, right? Because wisdom comes through experiences or exchanging or engaging with other people most of the time, which have a completely different point of view than we do, right? Or a completely different set of experiences which structure their point of view. So all of a sudden, if you close yourself off to all that and that's not available to you anymore, I wonder what society looks like after that. That's what the curious part is for me. But why we're here, I'm not certain. I have a religious perspective or a spiritual perspective that there's a realignment going in the universe that we're part of. I very much believe that. And I'm ignorant to exactly how that all shakes itself out, just like the rest of us are. But I really believe that's what's happening, in my humble opinion, that the universe is coming to align and that there's things going out in the spiritual realm that are much different than what we understand in the physical.
Oh man, Riccardo.
Yeah, so I think I don't believe in a bigger picture as it were. I just think I think that's a real human thing, is that we are so self-important as a species that there has to be a bigger reason for us to be here. And I don't necessarily think there are, because I don't think, if you could talk to squirrels or if you could talk to dogs, that they think that there's a bigger reason for them to be here. They just exist. And I'm kind of on that. It feels like if you look back through history, you look back to around 1918, the Spanish flu that did what it did, and then you go back. There's always been these things, and I feel it's almost like the planet writing itself. I don't know if you believe in an entity as Mother Nature, but in terms of maybe a collective consciousness as a planet, that the planet goes, you know what? We need to get rid of some of these because they are really draining our resources. So what do? All right, let's do this. And, and it's kind of maybe in a way, Mother Nature shepherding us and doing some population control. And that's all there is to it. It's just, and then we just, the more advanced we get, the more technology we get, the smarter we get with medicines and vaccines and things, the harder it is for Mother Nature to do these things. So the things that Mother Nature ends up doing become bigger and harder to conquer.
Mm.
Wow, so interesting. You see, isn't it interesting to see our different points of view? And yet there are connecting ideas in what all three of us said, because you're saying Mother Nature, but what is what's that? Where does that come from? What's all that about? And squirrels and dogs. However, squirrels and dogs do not have the same cognitive and self-awareness that apparently humans do. Some humans.
Not all.
Not all, yes, shall we say. Exactly. So and those are more like a hive mentality, although it also appears that humans have a bit of a hive mentality. Remember the Star Trek, the Borg? We shall assimilate you.
Yes.
It seems to be happening to a degree. Oh, anyways, I don't want to get too deep into that because I could go off and bore the socks off everybody.
No, but it's real and it's here, and I think it's interesting, like you said, to see the three different perspectives. What are you doing for fun now, Sass? What are you spending your time on?
Well, I am very much interested in things that you cannot see. Does that make so? Like, you can't see electricity, right? But it exists because you see the consequence of electricity. So I'm just using that as a metaphor. But so I am utterly and completely convinced that there is far more going on in this dimension than we can see. than our five senses are aware of. And so that is the main focus of what I'm fascinated by right now. I'm doing something called Pendulum Alchemy, where you use a tool called a pendulum to tap into different frequencies and different energies, and you can ask questions, and you can make like commands saying, you know, affect the energy this way. I think that what we don't realize as human beings, because we have not been taught this, although these types of ideas and this type of knowledge was taught in what's called the mystery schools throughout the ages, is that we are able to connect with these energies that we can't see, or, you know, that we can't see with our eyes, that we can't touch with our hands. We're able to connect with these energies. And it's like a whole new universe opens up, you know, that and the only limits to this universe is your imagination, which takes us right back to being, like, let's say, a musician. You know what I mean? Because when I write a song, I don't write the damn thing. I never did. And taking credit for it makes me feel like I'm lying, you know? When I write a song, it's almost as it's like it's downloaded into me. It's just downloaded. And I go, you know, that's how it works. And so where the hell is that coming from? You know, the Romans or the Greeks called it the muses, you know, but again, it's coming from somewhere that I can't see. I can't see. So I'm tapping into those types of realms, and it is incredibly fascinating, incredibly exciting, and I'm just off on a tangent with it.
It's interesting you
Meanwhile,
say that. Yeah, no, I remember reading an interview in I think it was a classic rock magazine or Mojo magazine, one of those, with a guy who was an electric violinist. And this is, I'm talking probably 20 years ago, I read this interview, and he was an electric violinist, and they talked to him about his songwriting. And he said, and at the time I thought, wow, you know, this guy's a bit out there, you know, it's kind of, and he said, I'm just an antenna. He said, and I pick these things up. And they come through me, and they come through my hands and through my brain, and then I put them out there. And that was his take on where his music came from.
It's exactly. I mean, I completely and totally agree. And it's funny because well, not any, but a great deal of interviews that I've read with other musicians, they say the same thing. And I'm like, I thought I was original with that idea. But let me tell you,
They're insulted.
I've never had an original idea in my life, clearly.
Everything's
It's
an
the
influence,
God's
Sass. Everything's an influence.
So how many songs have you written during this time?
Zero. Absolutely zero.
Excellent.
Yeah,
So you're killing it. That connectivity, you're killing it.
I tend to write when I have I sound so fucking ridiculous. I tend to write when I have a like a specific amount of time, when I have a deadline. That's when I tend to write.
Right.
Or
So
do
by
anything important.
Hey, by tomorrow at 3, we need 2.
I could do it. I could totally do it. I could totally do it. I like to write with someone else, though. First of all, I need them to write the musical part of it, because that doesn't download to me easily. Lyrics, you know what? I just thought of something. I'm completely lying. I've been writing a rock opera with my friend Gary Borden, but we haven't worked on it in 3 weeks. So I forgot, because I'm a little elderly. Just saying, I forget stuff. I just forget it. If it isn't in my face right now, it's like, oh yeah, right. That's how you stay young, by the way, folks. Don't remember anything. It keeps you young.
Stress. No stress.
It keeps you young. You don't notice time passing. That's how you do it.
It's just like a goldfish. It's like, what? Where am I?
Exactly like a goldfish. Boom. So we've been writing this rock opera, and it's been a blast. I can't believe I forgot about that. What a dinkum-pope. But anyway, sorry,
edit that out. You'll be fine.
Oh, we're
Oh
keeping that in.
yeah.
We're keeping that in. That's good.
Anyways, I swear to God, I think this is the most exciting, inspirational, awesome time I've ever been in. And when I say that with empathy for people who are not having a great time, of which there are a lot. And I completely understand it. And believe me, I go up and I go down and I go up and it's been a roller coaster from heck, you know, but learning all these amazing new things and tapping into energy that you can't see and all of that stuff has been an enormous help. And it really works. It actually makes a difference. I can feel it happen. It's like wicked. It is wicked. So I feel like we're moving into a like Ron said, a new kind. There's definitely new energy on this planet. Like you can feel it. It's not, it doesn't feel the same. And it feels uplifting in a lot of ways. Not if you look at mainstream media and not if you get caught up in all the politics and everything is going on and all the horror and all that stuff. That is, so my advice to humanity right now, if anyone gives a SHIT, which is French for merde, is to completely just go into your own world and your own bubble. And it's almost like it's been set up like that right now.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's really, we were talking a little bit ago, and going inside yourself and having to get to know yourself a little bit better. We've been so full of distractions for so long, right?
Yes.
Everybody's in a screen, right? We're in a screen right now,
Yeah.
right? But everyone's in one 24/7, and I'm guilty as charged. Candidly, it's forcing us to get in touch. It's forcing us to do a little soul searching because there's nobody else around, right? Presumably. And that adjustment is probably the most interesting out of all of them, right? And so maybe we just solved what the real purpose of this whole thing is. We just fixed it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Ron's fixed the social engineering experiment. He's got it.
Good. We know why it came and why it's here. Now go on with your bad self and get it together.
Get on with your bad self.
That's what I'm thinking. Podcast over. Anything else to talk about, guys?
I think there's a wine. We need to plug the wine. But other than that, we're good.
You know what my wine is called? It's called, are you ready? Are you sitting down? Oh yeah. What else would you be doing? It's called Kick Ass Sass. Here's the problem. It's not available outside of the province of Ontario right now because of the liquor laws. The province of Ontario in Canada, I'm talking about. It is, that's another a little chestnut that needs to be taken care of. I was also about to do a whiskey. Got the label, got the whole thing going on. Can you tell I like booze? Ron doesn't, but I do.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
I think booze is like anything else. Fabulous side, not fabulous side. Which one do you want?
You know
have you got a name for the whiskey yet?
It's called Rebel Moon Whiskey.
Ah, cool.
And it's got a wicked label too. It's amazing. It's beautiful. And it's a great Canadian whiskey. I wanted a bourbon, but apparently you cannot do a bourbon if you are not A, American, and B, American. Did I mention American?
You have to be in Bourbon County, Kentucky to make bourbon.
Yeah, Kentucky.
It's
like
can only
champagne.
make champagne and champagne. Exactly.
Exactamundo.
Us booze hounds have got this covered, Ron.
Oh, by the way, stop the presses. The greatest white wine in the world, in my opinion, comes from New Zealand.
What's your go-to? What are you talking?
I can't stop swearing. It's dreadful, you guys. Well, New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc is the bomb. It is the bomb. There aren't that many vineyards that I've tried out of New Zealand, the Sauvignon Blancs from New Zealand, that I dislike. They're all subtly different. They all have their differences, but I just cannot believe it was brought to New Zealand from Germany. I read up on this because I do my research. So yeah, It was a German guy that brought some vines over to New Zealand in, oh God, I don't know, the 50s, I think it was, or something like that. Anyways, and boy, that wasn't a mistake. Can we just discuss? Now, which one of you wants to be Joe Rogan?
I didn't see any grapes when I was over there, Riccardo.
Well, I've actually just been on Waiheke Island, which is an island in the Hauraki Gulf, which is where Auckland is. Like, it's the, you know, the, like, because Auckland's on a thin strip of land and there's islands all around it, and Waiheke Island's in the Hauraki Gulf. And my partner and I went to and stayed on Waiheke for about 4 days a couple of weeks ago, and just did vineyards, and just did, because there's about 30 vineyards on this one island, and it's warmer and drier than anywhere else in New Zealand. This island, it's kind of got its own microclimate, and they do a lot of Bordeaux style reds, so they do a lot of wines there. And one of them actually, really interesting, the guy who set it up was on the 81 Whitbread Round the World yacht race with Sir Peter Blake, who's a famous New Zealander. Spent some time in France, fell in love with wine, came back to New Zealand, bought some land on Waiheke, and set up the second ever vineyard on Waiheke. And within 5 years, he was winning awards for Bordeaux wines against wines from actually France.
From France.
So yeah, there's some Sass, when you get down here, when they let you out of the country, although whether they'll let you into this one's a whole nother argument. But we'll have to take you over there.
When you're done being incarcerated, Sass.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if they let me into New Zealand, there's that.
Yeah, there is that.
I'd
There's a bit
love
of a
to
queue
go
at the
there.
moment.
Oh, are you kidding? I'm gonna, oh boy, there's gonna be a large blast when I land in New Zealand. It's gonna be like an earthquake. Yeah, I'm here. It's gonna be so amazing. I cannot wait. I've never ever been to that side of the world at all.
Really?
How much does that
down.
suck?
Yeah.
I know. Never been to Australia.
Because of your passport restrictions?
No, it was just that there was just nothing happen. You know, I could never go unless, you know, somebody was paying me to go, and everybody was like, Sass, who? Who's he?
Hey, Riccardo, note to
Mm.
self, please send Sass a plane ticket, okay?
Yeah, sure, no problem. I'll sort it.
We
I'll
got
sort
For
it.
all those billions you got over there, Riccardo.
You're good to
What
go.
are you
man.
holding out for?
Watch your
We've-
mailbox tomorrow.
We've got a 3-month queue because they've turned a bunch of hotels into quarantine facilities. And so you need to book 3 months out before you can get into one, and then you have to do 2 weeks in one of those before you're
Bloody
allowed in the
hell.
public. Yeah.
Do they like Canadians in New Zealand? Because I know they're
Yeah.
not letting any Americans in.
No, we like Canadians. They're part of the Commonwealth. You know, we kind of have an affinity with Canadians because, you know, we see kind of people, that whole New Zealand Australia thing. You know, Sass and I were talking about this earlier before you came on, Ron, when you're still at the hairdresser. You know, that Sass was saying she struggles to tell the difference between New Zealanders and Australians.
Well,
and New Zealanders
accent.
hate that, right? But New Zealanders have the same thing, trying to differentiate Canadians and Americans. So there's kind of a little bit of a big brother, little brother sort of thing going on that we kind of get. So we get the Canadians. So they're
I'll
okay.
tell you what, though, Americans would be pissed to hear that, because Americans think Canada is basically the attic of America. They're like, Canada, Canada. I've heard of it. I've heard of it. Where the hell is that? You know,
It's on the border of Mexico, correct?
exactly.
It shares
No,
a
we're
wall.
like the poor cousins of America.
Between Mexico
for
and
sure.
America, right?
Yeah, they share a wall, Ron.
There's got two walls, one on each side.
One on each side. That's right. That's right. Actually, Sass, an old roommate of mine, was from Milk River, which is, I think, Alberta. I think.
It sounds like Alberta. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah,
nowhere
yeah.
near me.
Yeah.
Nowhere near.
Yeah.
That's like out west.
So I've had
Fabulous
plenty
place.
of I've spent plenty of time with Canadians. Put it that way.
Have you? How's my Canadian accent?
It's a chameleon.
I see. That's right. Luckily, you guys aren't from down south, because that would be a goddamn problem to you. Whoop. It
Straight
would
from
be.
Nashville.
I'm from Nashville. I got a lot of friends in Nashville. Oh my God, guys. Okay, I'm babbling, and this is not.
No,
good.
you're doing
I-
fantastic.
Sass, there's something that came up that I wanted to ask, or two things that came up that I really wanted to ask you about. And it's semi-serious, but your songwriting, right? So you were doing the Bowie tribute tour. If you're doing something like that, where you're immersed in someone else's music, do you find that impacts on your songwriting? I mean, do you all of a sudden find the stuff you're writing takes on maybe that kind of a little bit of a Bowie spin, for example, if you were to
No.
write after a tour like that?
No. I was a huge Bowie fan when I was a kid, and that's when it impacted me as much as it ever would. Bowie was a chameleon. There you go. He was an absolute genius chameleon. And the reason I did that was because I got to work every night on stage with one of my biggest keyboard idols, Mike Garson, who was Bowie's keyboard player for like 40 years. And also other alumni and people that I actually have worked with and run across during my career anyway. So it was like being with a bunch of old pals and playing these incredible songs that, really did shape my love of music, had a huge impact on my love of music. But as far as it influencing me creatively, not to my conscious knowledge. And if it was, it would have happened. It happened back then. For example, when I first started singing, I wanted to be Shaka Khan.
Wow.
Sadly, nothing I did. So my singing is basically me trying to be Shaka Khan. I don't mean to tell you.
You got very close.
Bit of a disaster, darling. Bit of a disaster. However, that desire and me trying to do that came out making me be me, I wanted to be Shaka Khan, Paul Rogers, and Steven Tyler.
Ooh.
With a touch of Mick Jagger. Don't forget my timing. I was a teen in the 70s.
Yeah, right.
5,625 years ago. I was a teenager. Back in the time of the dragons, my sons.
Right.
Yeah. And that's why I still got fucking pink hair.
Yeah, that's
This is
Is that a problem? Because that's
no, it's not a problem. It's not a problem.
Not at all.
I don't know how I ever did a TV show. I did a TV show that had 3 million, would have up to 3 million viewers per episode. Okay. And I don't need to tell you, that was difficult because I couldn't swear.
Was it live?
Oh, yes, it was live. It was the Idol show, Canadian Idol.
Right.
Oh, yes, it was live, my brother. And
yeah,
I don't know how I pulled that stuff off. Yeah. It's so, sorry, I keep talking over you. Say it again.
I said they should have known to tape that with you.
But I never swore. It was like it was like an etheric wall came down and the swears went backwards.
And when you left the set, you just swore for 20 minutes straight.
I did.
It's like have a Tourette's attack.
I blame it on my rock and roll background. I mean, I grew up on tour buses, for Christ's sake, over here.
So tell me, Sass, you haven't written a bunch of music. You're writing a rock opera, which is super cool. I'd like to know more about that.
I know, which is crazy, right? Because that's a hugely popular thing these days.
Yes.
Rock operas, like not.
Right. Drive-by Truckers did one.
Did they really? God bless their hearts. But you know what? You get to a point where it's just like, what the hell am I doing this for? Everybody else or me? I might as well just do it for me, because everybody else is very, very uncontrollable. You cannot possibly control what anyone else thinks, wants, or feels. So bugger it. I'm gonna do what makes me happy. And
well,
that's
I figure if you do what you think, you do what you want to do, you do what gives you pleasure and you enjoy, and then anybody else that's got good taste will like the same thing.
Good taste. But you're right, though, Riccardo, although I look at it more as if anybody else is on that same sort of band of frequency, and that's what they're interested in at that moment. But it's the same thing. It's exactly good taste, band of frequency. What's the diff? I cut you off, Ron,
No, You didn't.
I did. You were asking me a question,
And
I totally cut you off.
because of my young age, I have no idea what I was.
We are counting on you, baby.
Come on,
Counting
Riccardo,
on
save it.
you, baby.
I know Ron was going to ask you about the rock opera. Now, does this one have any blind boys playing pinball machines in it? What's the
No, it
essence of this
doesn't,
one?
but
What's it about?
I can't tell you because it's scary. It's
Ah.
scary because it's a little bit on the scary side. And I will tell you that it is called 17.
Ooh.
And that's about all I can say because it's very controversial.
Shocking.
Shockingly enough, it's controversial. It's called 17 and it explores some interesting concepts that have come to our awareness in the past, shall we say 12 months. But it deals with events and situations that have been going on for thousands of years. So really kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's interesting to anyone else. Not my problem.
How do you write a rock opera versus how you write an album? I mean, are you thinking about how it looks on stage? You having to write script around it? I mean, how does it differ as a process?
That's a damn good question. But it's different because no, I'm not thinking about how it looked on stage. I never even thought about that. I'm thinking of it more as a story that connects from one track to the next track to the next. It's like a story, as opposed to when I write it. If I'm writing for a record, everything has to be in the same sort of context, which I'll take for I'll name the album the context of the songs that I want to stick into there. For example, I had a record called Rats, which was originally called Rats in the Cellar, which was about things that, that are going bump in the night and that are not too festive, like addictions and, all of that stuff. It was all about that kind of stuff, which is why I called it that. But each song did not necessarily tell a cohesive story, but they were all in the same area of life. You know what I mean? So it was all about the same type of stuff.
So you're almost writing it like a concept album.
Yeah, kind of, it's a story. It's a story album. Tells a story, Fascinating. Oh, don't you love life?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's a freaking blast, isn't it? I need to roll back the years so I can start all over again.
Well, we have quite a few years left.
Indeed. In fact, we probably have a lot more than we think, because apparently these bodies were created to last at least 2 to 3 times longer than we generally do. Now, why do we not? Aha! This is the question. It goes into programming, patterns, etc. These are also things that I'm completely fascinated by and that I've been researching into and seeing, because there's technology coming. I'm telling you right now, even though I can't prove it, there's technology coming right now that if in fact it may already be here, that we have not been advised as to that fact, because certain factions of persons may be keeping it to themselves for their own reasons, which, I get it. However, that's over, baby. It's coming out. And it's time. There's technology that can make us a massive difference in the physical body quality of life, the physical body's quality of life. It does have a lot to do with the way one thinks, which of course has been programmed and patterned since you were born or before you were born, like in utero, etc. I just think there's a lot of information. What used to be occult, which means hidden type information. It doesn't mean like witches and warlocks. Occult means hidden. So like they'll say occult bleeding in the body, hidden bleeding in the body. So a lot of information that was previously heretofore occult is now starting to make its way into the world, into the general awareness of human beings. And the more open you are to that, the more it's going to come to you, the more you will be guided to it. And there's such incredible stuff on the horizon. Insane, like so freaking exciting. And we get to be here to witness it. Come on, my brother. It don't get better than that.
And that's why I love Sass so much. Did you just hear that, Riccardo?
Yeah, I did.
She's
Yeah.
got life and she's rocking.
Yeah, she is. Now, Sass, you talked earlier about maybe other dimensions, fourth, fifth dimensions, maybe things around us that we can't see. Is this stuff that you're talking about related to that?
Yeah, everything, it's all related, absolutely. And there's many more than 5 dimensions, but right now, according to wisdom that I you know, agree with, that yeah, anyways, we're moving from the 3rd dimension into the 5th dimension, and the planet itself, also known as Gaia, is moving. It's a frequency. This is a frequency. It's not something you'll necessarily see with your eyes, but the energetic frequency, which is why you're seeing the destruction of the old order. You're seeing it in medicine. You're seeing it in education. You're seeing it in politics. You're seeing it across the board. It's everything is crumbling, disintegrating, coming down. You know, the corruption, the everything, it's coming, it's starting to be visible. It's no longer occult. It's starting to be visible. And that to me is an indication that the old is over and we're moving into the beginning of the new. And this new, because it's 5th dimensional, which does not support lower frequency energy, which is death, destruction, hell, bullshit, crap, nasty business. It doesn't support that energetically. So all those things are coming up to be cleared, removed, healed, and we're moving into a new time. You know, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
They were just 40 years
I know
too
it
early.
sounds ridiculous. What?
No.
I said they were just 40 years too early with that song.
They were, but it was the dawning. But now we're really getting into it, especially if you start looking at the astrology, the numerology, all things that I'm interested in. Not everybody else is, and I understand. And it's only because they do not know anything about it. That's why, you know, you think, you go, astrology, oh, you mean that shit in the newspaper? You go, yeah, I wouldn't believe it either. It's crap. That's
What?
crap.
You mean the
I'm talking
Sagittarius
about the real
thing I
shit.
read this morning is not accurate?
No, my brother. I'll do your chart. Ron, I've done your chart. I know
You
your
did?
ascendant, your moon. I know where your anus is. I know all
Oh
of it.
boy. Do we need to do that again, or is that still relevant?
No, it's your natal chart will always be. It's the moment you came onto this planet, into this matrix. So
You
that
did
will
do that.
always be there. But what happens is whatever's going on in the sky, shall we say, in the planets, the energy is affecting your natal chart. So you will have different states of mind, states of being, you know, more prone to this, more prone to that, whatever. But you have to look at it, and I am not a real astrologer. You'd have to ask a real astrologer, and they are phenomenal. There's phenomenal ones out there.
Can I ask you a question then, Sass, on that? Because it's something that I've always kind of gone poo-pooed a bit.
Of course you have. I know
Right.
you have.
Right.
I know you're
So,
tired.
but you talk about that. So if I'm a skeptic of this,
If I'm a
and I,
Scorpio,
yeah, and I say, and you've said what you've said about the time that you were born, the day you were born, you know, where Saturn,
where
happened,
you were born,
whatever, exactly, all that.
and the year.
So does that mean if I was, so my birthday's the 9th of August, 1972, right? And I was born in Auckland at, I don't know what time it was, say 7:30.
You're a Leo rat, so you
yeah,
know.
I'm a Leo rat, yeah. But wouldn't then all the other Leo rats born at 7:30 on that day have the same
No,
path?
ma'am. No, ma'am. Oh,
So
wait,
how does
no,
that
sir.
work? Where does the differentiation happen?
Okay, the differentiation is massive.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, it's almost impossible that anyone was born at the exact same second as you, in the exact same spot as you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it does happen. It's happened, I'm sure. But nobody, how do I explain? So each being, every soul, I might be talking about stuff that you're like, what the fuck is this chick want? I'm sure actually am talking about stuff that you're saying that. However,
this is a non-judgmental platform. This is why I'm asking these questions, so I can understand. Yeah.
So you and I could have been born at the exact moment in the exact same place, but we don't have the same consciousness. You are you and I am me. So how we respond to those frequencies that were imprinted onto us as we came in, which by the way, we choose before we come in, we choose the exact moment, we choose the parents, we choose the place, we choose everything. But the fact is that your consciousness, Riccardo, the person, the self-identifying ego, Riccardo, is not the same as the self-identifying ego, Sass. So you're going to respond to those stimuli differently than I would. You see, so there are no two beings exactly the same. It's like, don't laugh when I say this word snowflakes. It's like snowflakes. There's no two snowflakes that are exactly the same. There's no two ice crystals that are, or anything bloody, it's all fractals. Anyways, I'm going off. You guys are really lovely to listen to this.
So seriously though, on a selfish, do we need to redo my chart or it's still good?
Your chart is always going to be the same. It's never going to change. But what is going to change is the day and where you are and what's going on in the heavens right now and how that impacts your natal chart. Yeah.
I need talking about this shit to navigate me through that.
I'll get you somebody. We'll talk off air.
Perfect.
And I know where Uranus is, Ron. You're sitting on it, so it's okay. You don't have to worry about that.
That's why I call it Uranus. Okay, so we don't get screwed up.
Right. So people don't misinterpret.
Yeah. Now it just sounds like somewhere you go to wee.
That's the loo.
That's the Uranus.
Where's Uranus?
Or the John here in America.
Will the real Uranus please stand up? Please stand up. Please stand. Oh my Lord. Anyways, what else going on, brah?
That's it.
That's it.
I want to know what's next for you. I know we got wine, booze.
We've got a new record coming.
Opera.
And well, that too, but I got a new blues record that I'm doing because I love doing that. We have such a blast when we're making blues records. We just sit the bunch of us all in a studio together and we just record. Boom. See.
You know who I want you to, do you know Taj Mahal?
Riccardo, did you hear what he just asked me?
Yeah, do you know Taj Mahal?
Are you going to put up with this kind of shit over here?
No, are you friends with him?
No, I'm not. And I wish he's one of my ultimate idols. And I did one of his songs on my last record.
So let's get you and Taj together. Because he's working on a couple things and he's a very dear friend of mine. So
I adore him. He's like, I've been listening to him since I was 9.
You two in the same room would be magic because
as long as it's not annoying.
Well, I can't speak for you or him.
Yeah, anyways, I'd love to.
I'm very serious about that. Since you're working on a blues record, the timing's really serendipitous because he's very creative right now.
I did one of his songs on the Rebel Moon Blues. It's embarrassing, but
no, I didn't know.
Do you know what song that is?
No, not from that.
It's a Taj Mahal song. You need to listen to it, you guys. It's bloody cool. It got more response from people than I've had in years.
Well, it impacted pretty high at Billboard too, didn't it? You had quite a bit of success.
Yeah. I never follow that shit, so I wouldn't even know. But yeah, I'll ask Peter, my manager. He'll tell me. I'm just like, I know thousands. I'm exaggerating. I tend to exaggerate. A lot of interviews, a ton. And yes, and it stayed at #1 on this one chart, this blues roots something or other chart for like 21 weeks.
Wow.
It went off for a week. It went down it went down for one of the weeks and went right back up to 1. It was insane. I've never experienced that in my
That's
life.
awesome.
I know, it was
That's
wicked,
great.
wicked. Yeah. Anyway, so shit's
I'm
good.
very serious about getting you two together, so that would be cool.
Well, I'm very serious about yeah.
So is this going to be part 2 of last year's record, or is this a completely new record?
It's a completely it's still me doing blues stuff, you know. So I mean, you could call it part 2 if you want. I don't think I will call it that, but yeah. Yeah, more blues. I love it. It and of course, you know, my voice, a little obnoxious, a little smoky, a little whiskey, annoying, right?
Where are you from now? The Bronx.
Yeah, I know. It's the many voices of Miss Jordan.
Who's your favorite blues player ever? Because I got to say that probably the best guy I've ever seen play live is a guy called Roy Buchanan, who you probably know. He was absolutely amazing. He was absolutely amazing seeing him
Most
live.
people don't even know who that is. I'm impressed with you right now, Riccardo.
Oh,
I'm just
thank you.
gonna say I love Roy Buchanan, but asking me my favorite, that's like asking me my favorite color or my favorite booze or my favorite, you know what I mean? Or my favorite person.
Pink whiskey. What? I was just answering those for you.
Nah, I'm more like a gin tequila kind of guy.
Okay.
I like those. I like, you know. Anyways, so aside from that, I don't really have there's just so much great, transcendently great stuff. You know, it's whatever that person's channeling energetically, you pick it up, you know. And some of it resonates with you and some of it doesn't. Some of it resonates with somebody else that doesn't get what you're getting, you know. Oh God, there's so many. Bloody hell. I'm upset I can't answer that.
That's all right. It's a difficult question, and I did put you on the spot.
But is Roy Buchanan your favorite though? Can you actually say favorite?
Well, of the guys I've seen live, you know, of guys I've actually seen in person, yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Jeez, in person. I can't think of anyone right now. Yeah, because you know, I'm a little old. Happy and old.
Yeah, I was
That's
lucky.
my go-to excuse.
I was lucky enough to see him in Auckland, and he was dead only a few months later. It was like it was the end of a tour, and then he went home, and yeah, it didn't end well for him, unfortunately.
I know a lot of those people didn't do too well. You know, they really did not. A lot of the singers, oh my God. I did an Allman Brothers song. I did Taj Mahal. I did Keb Mo. Am I wrong? No, fall in love with you. It's a wicked song. Oh, anyway, so yeah. Aside from that, just more intense excitement about being alive. I don't know if that's of no use to anyone else. I'm sorry, but if you want to get on the gravy train, come along with me. I say.
The transformation we're going through is going to be fascinating. So
it is so fascinating. And if all y'all ever want to talk about any of that stuff going forward as we go into the next couple of months, let's reconvene and say, whoa, do you believe this is happening? Do you even believe what happened? Like, is this even real? Because it doesn't seem real, does it? It seems like we're in a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Literally.
What season of Defiance is this?
Oh, they used one of my songs on their in that TV show Defiance.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't believe you just said that of all the damn shows.
It's cool. It's called Prep. It wasn't Magic. It was called Prep.
Oh, you bastard! Wow, bastard! I've never even seen that show, to be honest. I'm watching a show right now called Call My Agent that rocks the Western world. It's French, but it's in subtitles, and also I kind of speak French, so that helps. But it is insanely great. It's so lovely and funny and just awesome. Call My Agent.
Call My Agent.
All right.
All right. I'll look it up.
Okay, my darlings.
What's next?
What's next is I really, really would love to be able to start doing shows again. I really miss people, and I doubt that I'm the only one. You know, I think it's just going to be absolute joyous mayhem when we get back out there and we can start doing shows again. Isn't it interesting that they stopped us from doing shows which are healing and make people feel better. And they stuck us all into little prisons and took everything away. And we all went, okay.
And we have to cover our identity.
Very interesting stuff.
Yeah, that's deep stuff. So
Interesting
will
stuff.
you come back and join us?
Sure. Are you kidding? I don't know if anyone's going to watch this show. Just telling you.
They're going to watch. They're going to watch you, Sass. They never watch Riccardo and I.
He is so wrong. He is so wrong.
That we know for a fact.
You guys are so wrong. Why do you think people watch the show? Because you host it?
Because Riccardo, the hairy one.
I like Harry. I like Harry. And P.S. Harry people, very down to earth. Very down to earth. Rats, smart MFS uckers. That was a glitch in the Matrix. You didn't actually hear what I said.
No, I didn't.
By the way, Riccardo, just so you know, I'm a rat too.
All right. Go rats.
A snitch before you, but still a rat.
Yes. Just a tad. Just a tad.
Christ, it's amazing being this old. Ron, what year are you? Oh, maybe I should know. I don't know. To ask.
1982.
I'm feeling, I don't know, but my like spidey sense is saying that I don't think that's
a little off, maybe by a year or two. No, I was born in 1963.
So you are born in the year of the rabbit.
Yes.
You're a rabbit. And you're right at the end of that year too, by the way. I know because he's a Sagittarius.
That's exactly right.
December 14.
Look at you.
Oh, look at that.
I never forget that stuff.
That's awesome.
August 9.
August 9. Yeah, well done.
See, I don't forget it. I don't know why. I'm very weird like that because it's interesting to me. Anyways, I adore you, gentlemen. Thank you for listening to me babble on.
Thank you for being here. Love you more than you know. It's so good to see you.
See you later, Sass.
I have no
Thank
idea
you
how
very
to turn this
much.
stuff off. Riccardo, you're an angel.
Just leave it on and record some music. We'll spectate.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Just
go
an
in the other
acoustic
room.
number.